Hello, Lantern Road kindergarten and first grade artists. We are ready after studying Mexico and Mexico's famous artist Frida Kahlo to create something that was a Frida Kahlo favorite. Frida loved to surround herself in her home and in the art studio in her home with things she just loved to see. Maybe she thought they were beautiful, maybe they were just something that was her favorite, maybe it brought back a sweet memory about somebody she cared about, but she loved pets, and she had some unusual ones. She loved collecting dolls, and she had many. She also loved Mexican flowers, especially fake flowers that never died, so she never had to replace them, and that she could wear in her hair. Frida loved the Mexican traditions of her family and took that so far that she traditionally wore traditional old school Mexican clothing, which included wearing flowers in her hair a great deal. So we are going to create some Mexican flowers, and you have plenty of options, whether you're working back in the art room with Mrs. Billman, or if you're working from home, there are several options. If you don't have the equipment you see me using, I'm going to show you some of the other options in the video. And we do have other options too when it comes to using things to hold our paper in place. So make sure you're watching well and listening carefully so that you can catch the best way for you to create these flowers. So I'm going to have that moment, and I apologize in advance, where it looks like I'm in an earthquake because the camera needs to be bent to a different direction. And of course, I need to check my camera to make sure that you are able to see what it is I am doing. So you probably see from above a very fluffy hydrangea-looking flower. Hydrangeas are those puffy flowers that are pink, blue, and white that you see pretty much from the spring through the end of summer in most people's yards in Indiana. They look sort of like a pom-pom or a puffball. I like this formation best because I love hydrangeas and I love to have the petals curved on my flower. But I also know how, and I will show you how, to make a more carnation-looking flower with these jagged petals. There's two ways to create those. You will notice this flower is made from something else. This flower is made from Kleenex. So if you don't have tissue paper that usually goes with gift bags, you may use Kleenex. If you don't have those things, you might have newspaper. I know a lot of homes don't have newspapers delivered anymore, but newspaper has some colorful pages, and the pages are thin, which is what you need when it comes to paper for creating these flowers. I'm going to show you how to make the rounded petals, the jagged ones, and these are a bit different than these. So I will show you how to do all three types of cutting, and I will show you how to fluff your flower after we've formed it. And I will show you this trick I use where part of my choices for colors are green so that it appears as though my flowers have some leaves. You don't have to choose that, but you might like to. So with my examples out of the way but nearby and handy, I'm going to get started with my 6-inch by 6-inch square pieces of tissue paper. I need 6 of these. 1, and this is old tissue paper I'm recycling. 2, I want purple to be next. 3, that one didn't get cut properly. See that it's not square? That's okay. 4, 5, this one got cut a little small. 6. So, I'm going to stack my 6 squares that are 6 inches by 6 inches. I really do want all these edges to be the same because I need to fold this paper and I want it to be as easy to fold as possible. Folding many pieces of paper would usually be very, very, very difficult, but because this is so thin, it's not as difficult. However, this stuff is kind of slippery, so you do want to have a good hold on your paper so that these pieces don't slide all over the table. We are going to fan fold. And if you've ever made a paper fan, like the one I'm waving on the screen, then you already know how to do this fold. But you can watch and I will show you. You fold a very long skinny rectangle for starters by just flipping up the end. Then you turn this over like a pancake and you do the same thing, but of course you're now on the other side because you flipped it. Flip it like a new pancake and fold. Flip it again and fold. This is called a fan fold because at the end it will look like a paper fan, like you might fold if you're really hot at a ball game and need a cool breeze. You might fold a quick paper fan with your program or something like that. The next thing that we need after we complete fan folding is we need something to hold the middle together tightly. And right now it looks like the craziest bow tie you've ever seen. When you choose what to hold the middle tightly, you basically need to choose what you have available. You might have pipe cleaners if you have some crafting supplies. You can twist this around the middle to hold this tightly together. You might have twist ties left over from some trash bags that your family's purchased in the past. I prefer to use a stapler. If you have a stapler, you may want a grown-up to help you with this. Just because staplers can be a little tricky, they can also be a little dangerous if you don't know how to use them the right way. I'm going to put a staple right in the middle. And I know that shook the camera because it's attached to the table. This staple actually didn't go through, so I'm going to do another one to be on the safe side. That way I know my tissue paper is not going to slip and slide around and come apart. So my next move is to fluff my colors that aren't green, because I fluff the green a different way. But before I do that, I have a decision to make. Do I want my petals rounded like the hydrangea, or spiky like what looks like a carnation a bit? If you want a hydrangea look, you're gonna cut a curved end through all of these layers of tissue paper. It's not the easiest to cut, but it is not impossible. It's gonna look a lot like the end of a craft stick or the end of a popsicle stick after you have slurped your popsicle. See what I mean? I'm gonna move my scraps and I'm gonna cut the other end the same way. Being careful to use my scissors well and appropriately and cleaning up my mess when I'm done. Safely put your scissors to the side where you had your stapler. Now it is definitely time to peel my colors that aren't green, and I want to do this slowly and with patience. If I do this too quickly, I really run the risk of tearing my tissue paper. A little bit of a tear here or there isn't a problem, but if you rip the entire piece away, your flower is not going to be even. It also won't look as much like a flower because you've lost some of the fluffiness that makes this appear to be a flower in the first place. So you can tell as you watch me, I'm going back and giving this a little bit more of a tug to try to fluff it up a little more. And then I'm moving on to yellow. I am asking that you make 3 Mexican flowers. Therefore, please do not think that this is a one art visit or art Zoom or art time project. You need 2 art times at least. You might even need 3 to make 3 flowers. Here comes the next layer of purple. And I bet you really smart Pop-Tarts can see how I am going to fluff my green tissue paper a different direction. It's probably starting to become very clear to you how that will look more like leaves if they bend or fluff the opposite direction of my purple and yellow. So I'm gonna turn this over, and it looks very flat and boring on the bottom right now. And I'm gonna sort of pull apart my green. I'll have them try to bend the same direction in a moment, but I don't want them stuck together. Bending the same direction is different than totally stuck together. Now I'm gonna pull them the same direction. So I have my leaves bending down and my flower coming up towards you at the camera angle I've got. And there is my Mexican flower that I just made with you. But before I finish the video, I have a ready-made fan fold that's already stapled. I wanted to show you how to create the flower petals like this. There's two ways you can do this. You can cut the end into a point, which means you cut one side diagonally. And remember, I said this takes a moment. This is a great amount of paper. Be careful and be patient. And you cut a diagonal on the other side. This might look like the top of a fence piece you have in your yard. It also looks sharp and dangerous. It's now pointed. That will change the way the flower looks to something more like this. You can also get this look by cutting away a triangle, cutting down into the tissue paper at an angle from both corners. This will give you the same sort of shredded, pointy petals that you see on my newspaper flower and on my Kleenex flower. You will fluff these in the same way, though. Those directions stay the same. Please make sure that when you are finished, that you clean up your mess safely, putting things away that are dangerous in case you have nearby pets or babies or younger brothers and sisters that should not have this equipment yet. And if your equipment belongs to someone else in your home, make sure you return it to him or her. If you are in the art room to work on this project, you will return things to your own art box, and you will put your scraps in the trash no matter where you are. Best of luck creating 3 flowers. You may make them different colors. You may make them with different materials. You may secure the center with a pipe cleaner, a twist tie, or a staple. I can't wait to see your submission photo with all 3 flowers when you're done after 2 art times, or maybe more.